Saving money today feels impossible because the modern fiat system is not built to reward idle cash savings long term. It is built around debt, spending, and asset inflation, and the average person feels that pressure in real life. Today, I want to talk about why saving money feels impossible and who actually controls the money system, and why inflation isn't just some unfortunate accident. It's a built-in feature of the machine. Yo, and what is up, Bitcoin entrepreneurs? My name is Chris, and welcome to the Bitcoin Entrepreneur Show. You obviously came here because you are interested in Bitcoin, and so today we have an interesting topic that's going to cover some general things, but also some very super important things. So those very super important things would be who controls the monetary system, inflation, we're going to talk about the dollar, and Bitcoin. And how, inflation and debasement of your money is part of the system that we currently reside in. And this is a great argument as to why you would want to hold and keep Bitcoin safe for generations, right? So right before I get into the topic, I want to say, excuse the noise. I'm so sorry. It is so hot today. If I was an alien, I would assume it's the hottest day on Earth. I don't think I'm an alien, but yeah, you're just gonna have to excuse the air conditioning noise because I am roasting in this room. I tried to be for the people and to not have this ear beating, but dude, my brain is boiling in here. So I cut the AC on, I put it on low. I hope it doesn't bother anybody too much. But other than that, let's get right into the episode. This is not financial advice. And I appreciate all of you guys being here for real. If you enjoy Bitcoin content, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, give me a suggestion on what you want to see next. I'm all ears. All right, I'm just trying to improve this channel. There have been major updates to the website. I encourage you to check out chriscyber.vip. But let's just get right into the episode. So the first thing I have here is the savings rate collapse. Okay, so I'm assuming US data, right? Because we are in the United States, or at least I am. Who knows who's watching here? But it's not just in your head as why you can't save. It's not just you, right? The data supports the feeling of why you can't save. So the U.S. personal savings rate as of January of 2026 was 4.5%. So fast forward to March 2026, 3.6%. Fast forward to April 2026, 2.6%. So you can see a trend here of the savings rate dropping in the U.S. over time. This is because of the debasement of money, essentially. I mean, obviously there's a lot of nuance to this, but just in the generality of people not being able to save as much, it's because of the US dollar. So Americans don't have piles of money laying around. Typically a 2.6 savings rate as of April, and I obviously it's not April, it's July 4th at this point, so happy July 4th to Americans out there. I'm trying to get this video out before I go and hang out with the fam and go in the pool and drink some beers and have a good time. But I'm trying to be for the people here. You'll just have to excuse the AC today. But a 2.6 savings rate is terrible. You're saving like 2.6% of your income or of your salary or income. That's we're not getting anywhere with this. But why? It's because the debasement of the dollar just causes all of the things in the free market to, well, we don't have a free market, but causing all of the prices to increase. And it's just because we have a debt-based system, we keep printing the money. This is a major argument for Bitcoin here, in the positive sense. I have a lot of data points here, and I just want to read a lot of these off to you today, but also I feel like I'm going to go on rants because this is an important topic here. 2% savings rate is basically like trying to survive type rates. And most Americans today, that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to survive. They really are. They're trying to feed, they're trying to pay bills, they're trying to just live, but they're working a lot. They're not getting paid a lot. It's a big deal. Excuse me wiping my head. It is so hot. It is so hot. I can't wait to go in the pool. So the second part I have here, debt is eating the household. What do I mean by this? Total household debt, according to my data, is 18.8 trillion in Q1 of 2026. Everybody's got debt, right? I mean, I literally just spent $2,400 to fix my car, and my car is a 2019 and it's paid off. I'm just trying to do maintenance on it because I don't want to buy another car, right? I mean, that's a lot of money to some people. A lot of people, most people. I'm just kind of lucky to be able to pay that off. Let's get into mortgage debt. So, if you were to guess what the mortgage debt is, I don't even think you would come near this number. Go ahead, take a guess. Put a comment. Mortgage debt. 13.19 trillion. 13 trillion? I mean, holy shit. Okay, mortgage debt. So that's houses. And mortgage also in Latin means like agreement till death. Maybe. I might have just made that up. Something like that. Do the research for yourself. Credit card debt. 1.25 trillion. Auto debt, 1.68 trillion. Student debt, 1.65 trillion. So Americans are in debt. Households are in massive, crazy amounts of debt. And you know what comes with debt? Debt comes with interests. It comes with, people defaulting on their payment. So yeah, but the whole point here that I wanted to make is that people are not just bad at money. Their income is already spoken for, right? They have to pay mortgage, rent. They have to pay car payments, credit cards, student loans, insurance, groceries, utilities. We all know these things, right? We all pay these things if you're an adult. And if you are younger and you don't have all these responsibilities yet, this would be your wake-up call to try to save money in something that's not going to dilute your assets. Like, I don't know, Bitcoin. Don't take it from me. Do your own research. That's one of my biggest things on this channel is don't take it from me. I'm just some guy. Do your own research. So let's get into delinquencies, okay? And what a delinquency is in terms of like the financial markets would just be like somebody who has a loan, but they are late on their payments. So if they're late on the payment, that would be like a delinquency. So the system is straining people, just absolutely. Federal Reserve numbers as of Q1 for 2026. All right, so credit card delinquency flow is 7.1%. Okay. Auto loan delinquency flow is 2.97%. And student loan serious delinquency flow is 10.86%. So all those percentages are the people that are delinquent, I guess would be the way to phrase it, on their loans. Many different types of loans. So that's a significant amount of people that are obviously not able to pay their loans. And I mean, that's a ton of people because a lot of people also just don't even have loans, right? So like there's already a small subsect of people who have the loans. Actually, it's probably not that small, but the amount of people that have these serious delinquencies are it's a massive portion. So it becomes massive numbers. Tons of people are just completely underwater. And then you have some people that are above water, but they're barely there. They're just floating. And then you have people that are way above the surface level of the water, and they're like essentially like they're flying high, right? But also rich people have tons of debt too, so it just feeds into the same system. But we're talking about people that can't pay their debts. So if you think about it, if the system was working great for people, you wouldn't see this kind of stress in the debt delinquency data. I mean, people aren't doing well with their money, right? But it's not even just that they can't deal with their money. It's they just don't make enough. Like imagine you make $50,000 a year, but you have, okay, this brings this right up. So imagine you make $50,000 a year and that was your sole household income. You don't have a wife, maybe you have a kid, maybe you do have a wife, maybe she's at home taking care of your two kids, whatever the scenario is. There's so many different scenarios we could bring up, but the whole point is, imagine you made 50 grand a year. We have median home monthly payments would be $1,700 in early 2020. So that was over 6 years ago. By late 2025, the median home was $3,100 monthly payment. Okay, so the first one you saw there, $1,700, that's not that bad. I mean, median home monthly payment, that's actually pretty good. Like, a lot of people could afford that. $3,100, that's a big jump. That's a lot, right? I mean, come on, that's a large jump that we just made, and it hasn't even been that long. But why? I thought we were improving. I thought this country had technological improvements. I thought we were on the up and up. No. Doesn't matter if you're on the up and up. The dollar sucks. The dollar loses value and purchasing power. It's horrendous, right? Well, actually, if I want to get precise here, the dollar doesn't lose value. It's still a dollar. But the purchasing power is what drops, and that's what people don't get about inflation. So this is some more data that'll make your head spin, right? The income needed to afford a median home is about $66,000 in 2020. Guess what it is by late 2025? $120,000. So that's almost double. It's not quite. Almost double, okay? And it's only like 5 years, close to 6 years. But the whole point is, 5 years isn't a long time. I mean, 5 years ago, I was, 22. That's a big gap in my life. I had no kids at 22. I wasn't married at 22. I was living in a different place at 22. So things change, right? You all know this. You all are real people out there living in the world. I'm not just some idiot. I'm not just some rich guy that's telling you something. I'm just like you. I'm a normal fella. I still work a full-time job. So median home prices above $400,000. How can anybody afford a $400,000 house unless you have a substantial income? But the substantial income is not even close to being able to afford that, or the median income, isn't close to being able to afford a $400 house. It's just craziness. Like, we just talked about how people who are the average people are just in tons of debt. And especially if you have a student loan degree, you're in debt and you have a massive payment you have to make every month plus interest. So the whole thing is just a big fuckery. Pardon my French. So I have a little data point here. Home price to income ratio around 5x versus roughly 3x in the 1990s. So all that means is in the 90s, you had to pay 3x your income to get a home. Now you have to pay 5. I mean, that exponentially increases, very, very much so, right? So what does this say? All right, so this is a good point. If housing alone costs an extra $1,000 per month versus a few years ago, savings gets destroyed. A lot of people didn't suddenly become lazy or irresponsible. Housing just mugged their entire savings. I mean, that's a good point, right? This brings us into the second part of this rant here in this video. So why does the system feel like this? We can go into a central bank rabbit hole in who controls the money, because there is a three-layer money machine. As I see it, just enough to iterate here. The federal government, the Fed, as they call them, does not micromanage every dollar directly, but it heavily influences the things that affect that. So these things would be interest rates, liquidity conditions, the cost of borrowing, monetary policy stance, inflation targets, and financial conditions, like in general. So modern money is not just printed paper. It's a huge amount of money gets created through bank lending, and it's all like digital essentially. And then loans that you have create deposits because people have to pay. And if you just wanted this like in a plain English way, money enters the economy through the expansion of debt, like as well as everything else that goes on. I hope that makes sense. I mean, the whole central bank policy is bank lending, government spending, and debt, and it all feeds together in a whole big pot of debasement for you, the people. I'm not really sure if people know this or not, but the Fed inflation target is 2%. Like, it's not zero. All the time, they are predicting a 2% inflation target, and that means that your money is guaranteed to lose. So guess what? Your money is the dollar. So, I mean, like, you can argue all you want. Your dollar is guaranteed to lose purchasing power. But that's not even the truth. Inflation gets way higher than 2%. Like, inflation's been upwards of 20%. That's crazy. And if you don't get what inflation means, I implore you to go research. But it's essentially just the value in purchasing power of your dollar goes down all the time. So if it goes down 20%, you wouldn't be able to buy something that was 20% more cost in dollars with the same amount of money you would have been able to do it the previous year if the inflation rate was 20%. That's craziness. I mean, like, you're making the same amount of money, but you can't buy as much with it. That's just layman's terms. All right, so I want to go through this a little bit quickly, but this would be why a debt-based system tolerates the inflation. Because, like, a debt-based system, which is the US, they have to tolerate inflation. Like, it has to happen, because if it doesn't, there's a big problem. So nominal wages rise over time. So that means the literal amount of money that you get paid. Like, literally the pure amount of money that you are getting paid. Old debts become easier to service in these cheaper future dollars. So, like, you get a fixed debt becomes easier to pay because of the fact that the dollar is debasing over time. So governments, which with these huge debt loads, they benefit if the debt is going to get diluted relative to the nominal growth of the amount of money you actually get paid. So the system is going to prefer the movement, spending, and the borrowing of the cash hoards that people have. So people make money, they store their money, that money is getting debased, but then at the same time, the debts of the banks are becoming easier to pay because the money is getting debased. Because they have a lot of these fixed debt scenarios. But you and I don't have the fixed debt scenarios. We have massive interest rates, right? So I hope that makes sense. Again, I'm just trying to articulate here. You're getting screwed over. I mean, people don't like to hear that, but it is what it is. This is why Bitcoin, and we'll see how it goes. This is why I like to timestamp all these things. Yeah, so idle cash gets completely punished if you're not putting that cash somewhere, because if you save only in cash, then your money just slowly melts away because it's not gaining any type of interest. It's getting diluted. So literally, if you just have your money under your mattress, per se, as people have said in the past, your money is just like, you might as well just take the dollars or the 20s or the hundreds and just chuck them in the fire pit. Don't do that, because that's even more so, but that's what's happening if you have idle cash. It's just getting burnt up because they're worth less and less and less, and you're not going to be able to buy as much. Like, let's just go through a little quick thought experiment. You have $1,000 under your bed. You wait 10 years. The same $1,000 that's under your bed, it's still $1,000. You're not going to get nearly as much, and that's based off of the debasement percentage. So $1,000 under your bed, you can buy a used car, $1,000. Cheap junker car, old, barely works, you can buy a cheap junker car. Okay, 10 years later, that same cheap junker car costs $3,000 because the purchasing power of that same $1,000 went down. I mean, these might be bad examples, but hopefully that helps a little bit. But also, my whole thing here, do your own research. Figure this out. I'm just giving you the info. So the idea would be to, if you hold debt or you hold assets, you often get treated better than just a pure saver in dollars. But the problem with the debt is you have to be able to pay that back, and at some point your debt can become insolvent. Because of the fact that you can't pay back even enough to control the interest rate. So then you become perpetually in debt until you're able to make more money, which most people aren't able to make more money because they're getting a rise in salary or hourly pay at their job more or less than the inflation rate. So they're not getting a raise as much as the inflation rate. So then their money becomes less and less and less and less and less, and they just become in a hole. And this is how people go broke, and this is why we have so many homeless people around the world, because they just can't afford things. And then also, obviously, there's other things: mental illness, drug abuse, alcoholism, crimes, criminalities, the whole thing. I mean, shit, there's a ton of stuff. There's very nuanced topics, but you get what I'm saying. Don't get crazy here. So if we're going to tie this thesis together that I'm bringing up here, let's just go through a little bullet point list that I've come up with. Savings are low. Debt is huge. The housing prices are brutal. The money system grows through debt. The Fed targets positive inflation, not perfect stability of the dollar. So perfect stability of the dollar will never happen unless they stop printing. Cash savers get pushed into a corner, and the average person feels trapped because they're trying to preserve long-term value inside a system that doesn't reward that behavior. So we're saying right here, maybe savings feels impossible because you're trying to store long-term value in a system that was never really built to preserve it. That's a completely true statement. Let me say it again. Maybe savings feels impossible because you're trying to store long-term value in a system that was never really built to preserve it. Leave a comment down below if you believe in that. And prove me wrong. So many of you probably know, a lot of you are probably like older, not really old, but you're probably somewhere my age or up. I can't imagine tons of younger people are listening to me. But the old advice is just save in dollars in the bank. And a system built around debt expansion and managed inflation, that's just not going to work out. But I can't blame people for telling their kids this, and, because they didn't know before the internet. How are they supposed to figure this stuff out? They just learned everything. They just figured banks were good for you. Put your money in your bank, and it was way better back then. Because, shit, all your parents probably own a home. Like, if not, they were able to make it. I mean, you're fine, right? You might have had a terrible childhood, rough upbringings, but today it's way worse in terms of a completely healthy family that makes money, but they still can't afford anything. It's because the dollar is debasing and the wages of the jobs hasn't gone up in correlation. And that's a problem. And this is where Bitcoin comes in. So let's get into the Bitcoin section of this video, which I'm sure you are all super excited about. My shirt is literally sticking to my chair because it is so hot out. Oh, it is unbelievably hot out. I can't wait to go in the pool. It is July 4th. So happy day to America, okay? 4th of July. I'm going to go and drink. And I'm also going to go in the pool, okay? Happy 4th of July. Love you all. Bitcoin section. This is where I go. I love the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is not just number go up technology. It's definitely number go up, but it's not just that. All the things that I just explained, it's a response to that problem. So let's get right into this. This is the main crux of it, and I've probably been talking for a while, but I don't care. This might be a long episode. I've created another bullet point list. Bitcoin has a fixed supply, 21 million. Bitcoin does not get printed into existence by a central authority. No, it gets mined via proof of work, based off electricity and human effort and time. Bitcoin is outside the traditional banking system. Bitcoin gives people a way to store value in a monetary asset with different rules than fiat. Great. Bitcoin doesn't fix your grocery bill tomorrow. Bitcoin doesn't erase your mortgage, but it gives you an opt-out lane from a system built on dilution and debt expansion. Okay? I'm not lying to you here. Again, I'll say this a million times. I don't care. You guys can complain all you want. Don't trust, verify. So Bitcoin starts making a lot more sense when you realize the existing money system isn't designed to protect the saver. So let's get into why Bitcoin is a solution and also how you can start. So if the system is built around a debt expansion, asset inflation, and a slow erosion of cash purchasing power, then the obvious question becomes, what do you do about it? What asset do you save in if you don't fully trust the money itself? Okay? So the reasons why you would save in Bitcoin are as follows. The fixed supply. Bitcoin is the hardest money that has ever been made. Bitcoin supply is capped at 21 million. No central bank can print more. It gives you a monetary asset with known rules via coding. So it's got rules. It can't do anything other than those rules. And it doesn't have a policy-driven dilution that the US dollar does. So it's a hard money and it's in digital form. The rules are transparent and nobody gets to invent more of it because the economy is struggling like they do now when they keep printing cash and diluting your money, because that's what inflation is. And that's why purchasing power goes down in the dollar, because they're able to just print it whenever they want. So let's get into sovereignty on the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin can be self-custodied. So, for example, I have a whole page on my website now at chriscyber.vip on wallets. So you can go there. I have, I believe I have 5 cold wallets that are there. I'm going to start adding a lot more to the website, but it's work in progress. You can go there, you can find a wallet that you want, a cold storage wallet, you can buy it, and there you go. You can keep it self-custody within a cold storage wallet. That's 100% yours because you own the private keys that control the entirety of the wealth of your Bitcoin, and it's completely safe, and you don't have to worry about banks. So you can hold it without a bank, fund manager, or exchange, and that's a huge deal in a world where everything is increasingly financialized and intermediated, which we all know about this. We all have debit cards and credit cards and bank accounts and investment accounts and whatever else. So why does confidence in Bitcoin make sense in a long-term scenario? So let's look at the historical context. So people get worried within the Bitcoin network because of the volatility, but the volatility is a feature. It's not a bug. It's not a problem. The thing is, you just have to be able to eat that volatility. And by eat it, I mean you just take it. You have to just take it. Don't sell it. Like, don't lose faith. You know what the Bitcoin network is. You know what it's capable of. And if you don't, that's why they say you should study it. Figure out what your limits are, your tolerance level is. But you just have to be able to eat the drops and not sell. And then when you get the highs, it's because you went through that trauma of the drops. But the reason for the massive volatility in the drops is because it's a global 24/7 asset. Anybody can buy anytime. Like, if you didn't know, the stock market's only open from like 9:30 to like 4:30 p.m. I think 9:30 in the morning, 4:30 p.m. Something like that. I don't know how the Canadian exchange works or whatever, but I'm in the U.S. That's how that works. You can't do anything from then. Like, you can buy stocks, but it's not going through till 9:30 or maybe way later. It just depends on the market. Bitcoin's 24/7. At like 2 a.m. I can wake up and just buy Bitcoin because it has no central party. It's the internet. It's in cyberspace. Like, all around us is the blockchain. It's ethereal, like the ether, right? So the reason why I brought all that up in that little rant there is because I have some historical context here of Bitcoin and why confidence in Bitcoin makes sense long term. So the 2013 high of Bitcoin was $1,100. Then you go to the 2017 high of Bitcoin, it was $20,000. So that's almost like a 20x, right? Then you have the 2021 high of Bitcoin, which is about $69,000. That's a big increase. Go to the 2025 high, and it was about $126,000. And obviously, in between those highs were lows, right? There was a lot of volatility. That's expected when you have an asset that is available 24/7 and it's global, worldwide. That's going to happen because somebody in Russia or in China or in Bangladesh or Australia can sell a massive portfolio of Bitcoin or buy a massive portfolio of Bitcoin, and that's going to shift the price a little bit. So they can do that 24/7 all around the world. So that's why it's so volatile. But that's good. People think that's bad. That's so good. Because it gives the opportunities for people to be able to buy at a low price because they know that the price eventually will kind of bounce back. And then you have the whole power law within the Bitcoin network, and you have the institutional adoption, and you have the cycles, and you have the balance of power. And by power, I literally mean power in terms of like electricity and watts, and in voltages going into the system, fluctuating because of the difficulty in adjustments within the Bitcoin network. The Bitcoin network is way deeper than you think. If you don't know about it, it's the best technology and monetary system that we have. So, with all that being said, Bitcoin has brutal crashes. This is just what I explained to you. But long term, it keeps going up. This is just inevitable, in my opinion. But same was Amazon stock, same was the internet, same was Apple stock. I mean, volatile, right? But now it's super stable because it's such a massive company, but it's all based on the dollar. So when they start to buy Bitcoin, it'll be a whole different deal. So yeah, I pretty much just explained all of these in that rant. Like, Bitcoin has had 70 to 90% drawdowns in the prior cycles. So we're down like 55% or something when we were at $59,000. 50 to 59% drawdown. That's perfectly in line with what would be predicted. And even if it dropped down further, we'd still be able to assume that the Bitcoin's going to have a big upside soon. And by soon, I don't mean tomorrow. I mean, it could happen in 2027, but it also could happen by the end of the year. And currently, like I've said many times at this point, it is July 4th, Merca Day, okay? It would be cool. It would be super cool if Bitcoin price jacked up today, because just fun. Everybody's partying, but don't think that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. I mean, we have so much government adoption. We have so much companies buying in. We have many companies buying in. We have so many things going on that are boosting the Bitcoin network, but then like the market cap drops because a bunch of people jump off the boat, or they want to get nobody's getting a profit really, but people just want to get out and live their life. Like, I mean, think about if you bought like Bitcoin at like $5 and you start seeing the price drop and you go, hey, maybe I want to cash out my $100 million portfolio and just live abroad and just be able to do anything I want for the rest of my life. Like, that's completely reasonable, but it's going to drop the Bitcoin price, but it doesn't mean that Bitcoin is any less valuable. Bitcoin's the reason that they're rich. Bitcoin's the best. It's the best. Volatility is a feature. It's so funny because all of these points that I've made on my little document sheet here, like, I kind of just went over those in my rant right there. But volatility is a feature. Low time preference. Okay, so don't think in weeks, think in years, right? Like, obviously, you're not going to buy Bitcoin with like your rent money. Like, you got to pay rent. You need a place to live. Slowly drip in if you can't afford much. Just keep stacking sats. Turn a DCA on. Whether it's $5 a week or it's $150 a week. Like, whatever you can afford, just keep stacking your sats, keep them safe, keep them in your cold storage wallet. And also don't get over collateralized. Don't think that you're the most, perfect genius out there who's gonna take a bunch of leverage and take a bunch of loans out, mortgage your house because Bitcoin's gonna go up. Like, you could totally do that, but you got to play it real safe, real smart. You got to know your percentage rates. You got to know your taxes. You got to know what's going on. You got to know your liquidity limits, because some companies don't let you liquidate, some companies will liquidate you at a certain price. This can wipe you out and completely clear your Bitcoin stack. Just, my opinion is just DCA, dollar cost average. Just buy a certain amount every single week on what you can afford and keep it in cold storage. Like, even if it's $5, just stack the sats. In my opinion, that's, it's going to help you out. Bitcoin rewards the patient. Bitcoin rewards conviction and a low time preference. So, if I have a little section here before we wrap up this video, I don't even know how long I've been going, but I'm ready to go in the pool and do my thing. how to start with Bitcoin. So start small. Buy an amount that you can emotionally handle through the volatility of it. Because if you're going to hold it for many years, which is the only justification to be able to buy Bitcoin, is if you're going to hold it for a long period of time, you have to hold through the volatility. Like right now, like I bought Bitcoin at 100,000. I probably bought it at 120,000. I buy it all the time. I bought it at 80. I bought it at 70. I bought it at 60. I bought it at 50. I buy it literally all the time. I don't care. I just don't care. I'm buying all the time because I know what I own. I don't really care about the price. I mean, if Bitcoin dropped to like 15,000 tomorrow, that might be like a little more terrifying. But I'm still going to buy. I know what I own. I really do. I know what I own. I'm going to keep buying. And you guys could laugh all you want. But if you're on this channel, I'm sure you kind of understand. Keep your DCAs on, all right? You have to learn self-custody. There's no way around self-custody. You have to learn your self-custody because you're not going to keep $1 million of Bitcoin or even $1,000 of Bitcoin on crypto.com or Coinbase or Kraken. Don't do that because you don't own the keys. You have to own your keys. That's long term, right? But if you have a smaller amount on there, like maybe you have 1,000, 5,000, if you have that much in the Bitcoin, you should be able to afford like a $60, $100 cold storage wallet. I mean, right? It's not that much. Even if you got to sell a little bit of your Bitcoin to be able to afford like a $60 Tangent set of cards. That's what I would do. You want to keep it cold storage. Don't keep it on exchanges. Because I've even had that problem where it wouldn't let me take it off of crypto.com for my parents. Just wouldn't let me take it off. It kept giving me an error. So it's like, okay, they just keep my Bitcoin, I guess, until I can get past this error. And eventually I got it off for them. But it definitely was a little annoying. So I mentioned before, cold storage wallets on my website, chriscyber.vip. If you want to find the best cold storage wallets for you, I have a wallets page, chriscyber.vip/wallets. And you can, look and read reviews and do your thing. I'm going to keep updating it. But those are great options if you want. I mean, you could also just Google or ask an AI like the best Bitcoin cold storage wallets. I'm sure they'll give you a lot of the recommendations that I have already given on my website. But also, if you want a Tangent wallet, you can get 10% off with the code in the bio and also on my website. I don't want to go on about that too much, but Tangent is awesome for beginners. There's a lot of other options. You can do Ledger, you can do Trezor, you can do Cold Card if you want to get advanced. Google it. Go to my website, chriscyber.vip/wallets. Whatever you want, man. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to help everybody else. So to close this all out, let's say this. If you take nothing else from this episode, just remember this. Bitcoin isn't the risky part. Maybe trusting your entire future to a money that's designed to lose purchasing power is the risky part. So, if this episode did anything for you, I hope it at least gets you asking a different question. Not, how do I get rich quickly? But, what kind of money do I actually want to save my life energy in over the next 5, 10, 20, 25 years? If you're brand new, start small. Learn Bitcoin, DCA, and when you're ready, learn self-custody and get your long-term stack off of the exchanges. So Tangent is one of my favorite beginner-friendly ways to do it. I also have a Ledger, and Trezor, Cold Card, BitKey, they're all great options too, just based on your price range and how your values are, okay? I want to reiterate again, not financial advice. I'm no expert. I'm just some idiot on the internet. But with all that being said, I appreciate all of you watching. I really just want to help everybody. Let's build out this Bitcoin network. It's only going to help all of us, right? So also, if you want to dive into the Bitcoin network, please buy my book. It's not even that expensive. It's cheap for the PDF version. You can get it on my website. You can get it on Amazon in hardcover in this exact copy. But also, the most exciting part about this is if you have a social media page, if you are a Bitcoin influencer in any scenario or you want to be, you can be an affiliate and the link is in the description on my website, and you can sell this very book in PDF form, and you'll get a 25% commission in Bitcoin sent directly to the wallet that you provide to me. And yeah, if you like this video, if it helped you at all, please just hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button on the channel and the notification bell if you want to see more of this Bitcoin content. But I really do. I appreciate all of you tuning in and watching this channel. It's the summer. It's July 4th. Happy 4th to all of you. Please go barbecue, hang out with your families, touch some grass, get in the pool, cool yourself down, stay hydrated, the whole shebang. Also, have a beer for me. I love you all. Appreciate you. Peace.